let's try this again. Give me a moment. Okay. So before I can even type in chat, I have to log in again, and then I have to do it manually, so I can't even use copy paste. And the password is kind of long, so this will take me a bit. Damn it. I tried to hit enter, and then it took me back. This is gonna be a little tedious. I think I will just have this up. Okay. Should be good to go. See, going live chat. Oh shit. Hey Trocius. While that was doing all that, it couldn't see chat. So you can't just start streaming in. Been wondering, since you only have one monitor, how do you watch chat? Oh! First, let me just check something. Test chat. Alright, chat overlays up. Alright. So the chat overlay that I keep referring to, if you go on Streamlabs desktop, there's a little gear, you know, it's for the settings. You go to settings and then there's an option that says game overlay. You have to toggle the game overlay, the in-game overlay on. Then shortcut the button. After you enable in-game overlay, you go to hotkeys, and then you then you figure out what key you want for toggling in-game overlay on and off, and then toggle the overlay positioning mode. Preferably to a button you're not going to be pressing repeatedly when playing the game. Press that button, and it doesn't work with every game. Sometimes it only works with games when the game is in window mode, but some games you can just have them full screen and the chat overlay will work just fine. But because of it, I'm able to monitor chat while actually being able to play the game itself. And there you have it. That's how I'm able to monitor chat while staying full screen. An example would be, like in Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous, I can have the game in full screen and I can still check the chat overlay, the in-chat overlay will work. But if I tried to run Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel in anything but Windows mode, like if I tried to full screen Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, it wouldn't work. I don't know why. I don't pick what games it works with and doesn't. It's just adapt. Anyway, so we're back with Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. I just finished getting the attention of a Demon Lord, and I'm now going over to their castle, or whatever she wants to call it. I'm at the entrance of the Lost Chapel, currently on my run. Oh, sweet! So now all your planning to fight against undead will be put to the challenge. Put to the test. Yeah, put to the test makes more sense. Depending on who you had in your party, that'll be easy or next to impossible. I think the only thing I really remember about the Lost Chapel, aside from the hordes of undead, is there's quite a few fear effects that come into play there. That's it. Yeah, don't have any plans against undead. I'm playing a bard. Okay, well, what's your party? You got somebody that can tell the undead to shuffle off the mortal coil, right? Besides, the only thing I can think of that the bard's really helping against is You're helping against the mentioned fear effects that some of those undead have. Not all, but enough of the cultists have fear effect spells that it's like just having a bonus against fear spells and abilities is useful. I have Regil, Windwalk, and Daeron in my party. Oh, there you go, Daeron. He'll help you out. It's kind of all you... Like, Daeron's pretty much the one-stop shop against all undead. Better him than having Socio in your party.
Let me help. Together we stand.
But Daeron never gets into range for his channels. I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing. Like, if the enemy's charging at you with all those melee undead coming into melee range with you, that means your tank line is really good to be able to keep them all away from your healer. So that's not entirely the worst thing in the world to be able to say. If they're never getting in range of Daeron, that means your tank line's holding strong. But if you just have Regil, like, is he really doing all that on his own? Anyway, let's go into House of Silken Shadows. A mighty demon, his chin lifted arrogantly, glances at you with no hint of interest. What is this you're guarding? After considering whether you are worthy of his attention, the demon deigns to answer. This palace is Lady Nocticula's residence, mortal. Uninvited guests are not welcome. I want to go in. Our lady had ordered us not to bar your way. My tanking is on point. Regil has good armor. My main character has some pretty strong bonuses to AC. Some being black. Okay, at last I checked, your bard was rather purple looking. But if you say so. Tall shelves are stuffed with countless books and scrolls praising the Lady in Shadow's many deeds. Some tomes are old and threadbare, others are new and in mint condition. Orange roll.
I will help where I can.
Sure. Use this to increase your knowledge roll. And then I'll actually try this. You'll turn black eventually, you just need a few more levels. Exactly what are you planning on doing?
Oh, well, that happened.
I will try to get this identified. The only thing I could say to make heads or tails of what you said is that eventually you plan, like you're going to go for a mythic path that turns them black. I'm guessing the Lich path. That's my only guess though.
Oh, well, that happened.
Okay, what are the odds I can get this? Plus 24. I need an 11 or higher. Okay, I am going to stubbornly try to get an 11. The laws of probability be damned. I don't get this.
Call me again if you need to.
Okay. The ink on the page is still wet. The book tells of the murderous massacre committed by the Lady in Shadow among the Colossus demons of the Midnight Isles. It seems it happened quite recently. No, he'll just grow into a large black thing with a big white member. Huh? Cryptic. A Lady in Shadow, the Queen of the Midnight Isles, Lady Nocticula, Demon Lord of Darkness and Lust.
Greetings.
A stately shadow comes toward you. In its hands, a small mirror sparkles and shimmers with an unsettling light. Fancy seeing you here. I have a lot of questions for you.
You are looking for answers. That's good. That is why I am here. I have much to tell you.
A hint of a smile dances across the weaver's lips.
You have walked a long path, one where shadows constantly flicker at the edge of your vision, and questions multiply like flies above carrion. It is time for answers. At least, some of them.
Rila lifts her mirror, and you fall into its cold, shimmering depths.
Day 16, Aridus 4715. Experiment, transformation. Subject, let's get that. Objective, to embed the essence of a Nehindrian crystal in the soul of the subject. Expected result, the essence will coalesce with the subject's soul, which will ready itself for total transformation, triggering the concomitant powers. The time has come to put my plan into action. You are my creation. Your power was my gift. Now you know.
Arilu stares at you, her gaze unrelenting, probing. The witch is silent for a long time. When she speaks, her voice is unreadable, betraying no emotion. Let's say I believe you. Why did you tell me all that? Why did you need to do all this?
You are asking the right questions, but the time has not yet come.
The unseen angel does not speak, but his silence seems to thunder in my ears.
Your power is of the same kind as that of Nulkaneth, Jeribeth, and the other demons that you have met. The power of the Nahindrian crystal dissolved into the blood lies within your soul. I have already hinted at this to you once before, when I left the essence along with the lexicon of paradox in my old laboratory, and ordered the suture to make sure the gift found its way into your hands.
Nulkaneth is a powerful Nabasu demon and the minion of the demons Minago. Jeribeth is an Leodru demon who put a spell on the Sarkorian settlement of the Wintersun clan. Under the guise of a beautiful sorceress, Jeribeth ruled the settlement in secret for years, having turned it into a place of amusement for demons.
But there is more. Do you remember when you were taken to Kenabris with a wound that would not heal? Do you remember how Terendelev apparently healed you? That was merely an illusion. The dragon was only able to temporarily dull the pain. In fact, it was I who saved you, when I came to you in the caves and implanted a crystal within you. No, saved is not the right word. Your wound is still not healed. That is why your wound weeps blood from time to time, every drop of which burns your enemies.
As if to confirm her words, blood begins to seep from the wound on your chest. Eerie flames seem to dance within the crimson drops.
This is pure essence of Nahindrian crystal. My invention is far superior to the crystals used by Xanther, which were barely refined at all. It will give you new strength and help you to overcome the wound that still slumbers within your soul. Take it. Take it, and you will see that this is the very power that has lived in you since the Battle of Kenabris.
With an elegant flick of her wrist, Arilu conjures a familiar purple shimmer in the air before her.
Not much of a threat. Look at me. Before you know it, I'll be a decrepit heap of flesh just like so. But I still managed to keep living somehow.
That's not going to work. You need to tell me everything first.
Very well, then. Ask your questions, and I will answer.
Arilu winces slightly, but quickly regains her composure. What is this wound in my soul? How dangerous is it?
It was my mistake. My failure. I failed to... The tale is too long to recount here. Your wound is a reflection of the world wound, in a way. It is very dangerous, even if you do not yet realize it. It is not a disease, but rather an abscess, which will one day burst and kill you. It cannot fully be healed until the world wound is healed. No doubt you have felt this affliction on several occasions. It awakens when you use your power. It makes you sense more strongly what mortals call the corruption of the abyss. Until the world wound is healed, you will have no peace.
Follow me.
Like a witch in a fairy tale, I watched over you from birth. From before that, even. And I kept detailed notes. You were chosen and prepared for a special destiny. I am pleased to see that you still wear them. I enchanted them specially to protect you from danger. I am glad you found my gift useful.
Rilu's eyes drop to your bracers, the ones inscribed with your name. You can't remember where you got the bracers with your name and the inscription I promise on them. Seems like you've always had them.
Aside from this, I helped you, even when you were unaware of my presence. I saved you and your unfortunate companions when you fell into the crevice in Canabras. In the Grey Garrison, it was I who distracted Minago to allow you to approach the Wardstone. And in Dresden, I appeared under the guise of Yaniel to guide you toward the Sword of Valor. And I also left you a present in my old laboratory, and told the Suture to see that you received it. I knew that sooner or later you would find your way there. That place exerts a powerful pull.
As it turns out, you helped me thwart the plans of your masters Baphomet and Discari.
They are not my masters. They are a resource.
Why was that whole ploy with the lab necessary? You were ready to sacrifice your servant, the Suture, for it.
You always have to sacrifice something. I wanted you to go to the laboratory to see with your own eyes what I had been doing and what I am capable of, so it would be easier for you to accept the truth. The laboratory is the place where I prepared your ascent. And the Suture was the only one who I could trust to execute my plan and explain everything. After all, he too once experienced rebirth at my hands, and that is why I was willing to risk his life.
Speaking of the Suture, he is currently being held captive by Hepzimira. I saw her buy him at the flesh markets.
I don't understand why you felt the need to tell me that.
All you know is trickery and deceit. How can I trust you?
Honesty is a luxury we cannot often afford. I don't expect you to understand this now, but at least try to remember it for the future.
Tell me about Nahindrian crystals. Start from the beginning.
Nahindrian crystals are formed from the solidified blood of demon lords. Their properties are not well known, even among the inhabitants of the Abyss, and there are reasons for this. Acquiring the blood of a dead demon lord is very difficult. After a demon lord dies, their body is instantly absorbed into the Rift of Repose. Only the Lady in Shadow knows how to kill them in a way that allows her to preserve the bodies of her fellow lords and transform them into a solid state. That means that Nahindrian crystals cannot be obtained anywhere other than the Midnight Isles.
If you watched my latest VODs, you know what I'm talking about. It's pretty obvious. I plan to watch the latest one tomorrow morning. After I get done getting set in, I have to be at work tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. That's gonna be rough. So yeah, probably around 7 o'clock I'll be watching a VOD. They all seem to be around 2 hours, a little over 2 hours long, so it should be easy enough. I used to watch Critical Role.
Or rather, it was impossible until recently, when I managed to experimentally obtain a crystal from the blood of a still living lord. You saw the result. A dagger made from Discari's freshly shed blood, which I left for you in Canabris. As regards the use of the crystals, that is a discussion that would take time, a very long time. Someday I will finish my groundbreaking treatise on the transformation of Nehindrian crystals, although it is unlikely I will ever publish it.
So you figured out how to use the crystals by imbuing living creatures with power.
Not just any creatures, demons and half-demons. The soul must have a stable connection with the Abyss in order for it to receive the power of the crystal. Experiments involving tieflings and mongrels failed because the voice of the Abyss was not strong enough within them.
But I'm not a demon.
I wasn't a demon either when I started. But there are always ways to circumvent, or even to override the laws of the universe. I changed myself by knitting my soul together with the essence of the Abyss. And I changed you. Do you remember the fits of rage that began shortly after Discari's attack on Canabris? This is how the second half of your soul manifested itself. Not yet fully aware. Not yet awakened. It's a pity you did not choose to let your demonic nature take hold. The result would have been most impressive. Oh, those arrogant crusaders, those knights with their eyes ablaze, those pious priests. They have installed at the head of their magnificent army a scion of the Abyss, the creation of the architect of the world wound, whom they so revile.
It's strange to see you here in Nocticulus Palace. Who do you really serve? Discari? Baphomet?
Both, and neither. I have served both Discari and Baphomet, and not merely as the lowest in the pecking order. But I do not think you'll be surprised when I tell you that to me, both of these mighty lords are merely convenient temporary sources of power. And their time is almost at an end. But the Lady in Shadow is different. She is the preeminent ruler. Soon you will understand this for yourself.
My power is different from that of Jerabeth, Knef, and the other demons.
Yes, because I taught Xanther and the other servants of Baphomet and Discari the earliest version of this transformation ritual. I spent decades perfecting it until I obtained the power that I gave to you. Power in its most purified form, cleansed of the filth and chaos inherent within the original blood of the demon lords. Your power is as pure as thrice distilled water. But it resonates with other powerful sources of supernatural power, such as the Sword of Valor. And your power can change. You must have realized this already. You have shaped my gift into a form that you yourself have chosen. You are seeking answers, trying to understand the crux of the matter. That is good.
What I want to know is this. What do you want from me?
Patience. Before we continue, I want you to receive your power.
Arena knots, knowing essence. Right. I will not refuse this power, but I will decide how to use it. You touch the essence and the power so familiar and clear, flows through you like a river. The power that courses through you is so immense, the wound on your chest closes up as if it had never existed.
Now you know. You truly know.
Enough! Enough of this madness! I was blind. O Lady of Heaven, how blind I was. I saw holiness in the half-fiend's creation.
The voice of the hand of the inheritor thunders beside you. Rilu does not move, seemingly unaware of his presence.
But is it truly possible? Angelic light in a creature of darkness? Am I tricking myself into thinking that I have been deceived? Forgive me, champion. I must leave you. I must collect myself. Pray. Reflect. Find me in the Nexus.
You gain the hand of the inheritor's trust not only by your allegedly being the chosen one, but also by your actions. He sensed a kindred spirit in you, a true angel. There's no life in the angel's voice. He slowly disappears.
I want to help you close the world wound.
Arita looks at you for a while, then she speaks. Arilu's words are cut off by a quiet laugh. Sitting on the throne that was empty just a moment ago is none other than Nocticula, ruler of Elutionera and the Midnight Isles, a powerful demon lord and the one they call Our Lady in Shadow. Her red lips curl into an ironic smile, and her large eyes observe you with keen interest.
You were about to say, we are going to close the world wound, weren't you, Arilu? I see no reason to continue deceiving this mortal. Now I am convinced that he is quite worthy of serving me. I will even reward him with a modicum of knowledge about the events in which he is about to take part.
Greetings to you, Our Lady in Shadow.
Arilu swiftly drops to one knee and bows her head.
It's nice to see that even surrounded by mortals, you haven't forgotten who your mistress is, Arushale. You may rise.
Nocticula nods casually in the succubus's direction.
I didn't mean to. I don't know why I did it.
Arushale stands up awkwardly and looks at Nocticula first, then at you with a stunned expression. I have too many questions and I demand answers.
You are a guest here, mortal. A guest of the Lady in Shadow, the vanquisher of many a demon lord. I am the only one here who is entitled to demand answers. You may ask your questions when I allow you to do so. For now, remember your manners and greet me properly.
Okay. Nocticula offers you a condescending smile and she speaks as if talking to a child. You've been sitting on your throne and listening to us this whole time?
Naturally. I am in the habit of observing my servants and guests while remaining unseen. Their private thoughts fly most eagerly from their lips when they believe themselves to be unwatched. And secrets exchanged in whispers are often invaluable.
And naturally, being as good can be, I choose the good option. This is probably gonna kill me. Good. Reach for your weapon. A word of warning. Don't play games with me. I'm not afraid to fight you. Here we go.
Do I truly frighten you so, mortal? That you must reach for your weapon? Don't be afraid. I won't hurt you.
She arches an eyebrow sarcastically.
I have had my eye on you for a very long time. You see, it was at my behest that Lady Vorlesh imbued you with such incredible powers. But I was curious to see your worth as an individual, not as Lady Vorlesh's creation. Thus, I decided to postpone our meeting and see how you'd fare in Ala Shanira, and whether or not you could win respect and power among those not so easily impressed by outstanding magical abilities. Well, you've passed my test adequately by proving that your character and your will are stronger than the Nehindrian powers Lady Vorlesh has vested in you.
You are wise, my lady. However, only those who have never known or forgotten what it is like to be mortal can so easily dismiss the importance of power. To be someone whose life is fragile and can be cut short at any moment, like a candle snuffed out by a gust of wind.
It is a shame your angel has left you, mortal. I would have liked to talk to him. I don't expect I will get another chance, as that celestial buffoon's days are numbered.
Nocticula's tone is casual, but her eyes are intent, scrutinizing you. You were able to see the hand of the Inheritor despite all his enchantments?
The herald of that upstart goddess? Here.
Yes, although his defenses were quite intricate. A commendable precaution on his part, as word of the hand of the Inheritor descending once more into the abyss reached the Echo of Discari almost immediately. Mind you, vindictiveness and guile have always been among his best qualities.
And the hand of the Inheritor told me his magic deceived the eyes of all evil spawn of the abyss. And not yours?
Perhaps you don't know everything about me yet, mortal. Perhaps you made the same mistake as many before you, and many who were more insightful and more powerful than you, by presuming to know what to expect from the Lady in Shadow.
Tell me about the Echo of Discari.
He is a strange creature, a bespoke creation, so to speak. Long before the world womb was opened, Discari, that little cricket, was seeking a way to have some fun on Galarian and assert his influence there. One day, he decided to gather a few strong mortal followers, fuse them together into one being, and pump that being full of his own power, in the belief that something worthwhile would come of it. That is how the Echo came to be. To the great dismay of both the Echo and the Lord of Crickets, the Echo was greeted by Eredin, protector of humankind. Eredin gave the Echo such a thorough thrashing, the whole abyss thought him dead. And yet he was not. Cricket, the younger, is alive and well, though I cannot say the same for Eredin. But the Echo remembers his humiliation still. He hates anything and everything related to Eredin, especially his inheritor, Iomedae. Her heralds, her priests, her temples. He would hate Iomedae's pet pug, if she had one.
Why does the Echo of Discari prey upon the hand of the Inheritor?
Envy, humiliation, ego. The usual playthings of little boys from all planes and realities. The Echoes suffered more than one defeat. First at Eredin's hand, then under the onslaught of the forces of heaven. Those routes taught him to attack his enemies by stealth, boldly and often, killing and crippling anyone close to the light-bringing goddess. Now, it seems, he has decided the time has come. The Herald of Iomade himself is in the Abyss alone, without a retinue of lesser angels.
I see.
He's an interesting little bird, that angel. Before he became the Herald of Iomade, he served Regathiel, the General of Vengeance. I've always found the fate of that Imperial Lord to be quite fascinating. Did you know that the father of the Upper Plains' top military leader was a devil from hell? Regathiel had to achieve many feats to redeem his unholy legacy in the eyes of the other Imperial Lords. But he did. A remarkable tale, is it not?
Your conversation is interrupted by a concerned-looking succubus who silently approaches Nocticula, and then begins fervently whispering into her ear. Nocticula's expression turns hard and cold. As Nocticula ponders the new development, the messenger makes eyes at you playfully. You recognize those green eyes. Except they were awash with pain when you last saw them, their owner bleeding out in the caverns of the Nexus. The succubus smiles slyly and gives you a wink.
Another island, another loss. Enough! I warned them that I would not stand for the desolation of my realm. They have not heeded me, and they will regret it. Go to your sisters and tell them to prepare.
Stealing Nocticula's voice. Nocticula sends the green-eyed servant away and turns her face to you once more. That green-eyed succubus, I know her.
Yes, you've already met Laulia, my talented assistant. I've heard she was very convincing at acting out her tragic death in the minds of the Nexus. As you can see, I've been watching you since your very first moments in the Abyss, and even a little earlier. I have prepared a beautiful intrigue that will topple many of your enemies and seal the world wound forever, ending the threat to Galarian. And you have the chance to become part of that intrigue.
My companion Ember would like to speak to you. And speak with you.
Ember? So that's her then? Well, approach. I have heard you bleeding your pathetic prayers at me. You have some nerve addressing me with such nonsense. Did you think I would simply repent? Renounce my status as a demon lord? Do you have any idea what I had to do to acquire it? Wait, what is this?
Tears are rolling down Ember's cheeks as she sniffles noisily. She presses her maimed hands against her heart as she stares up at Nocticula. Her fragile form shudders from weeping. Marilu wrinkles her nose in disdain. Why have you brought this simpleton here? This is the Lucianera, not Nerosine. We don't give alms here.
I can't stand these noises. Do you think you're the first to try to move me with a display of tears? It only makes me angry. If you wish to speak, then wipe your nose and speak clearly.
Nocticula throws a disgusted look at the crying girl.
I know what you had to do to others and to yourself. I'm so sorry. So sorry. If only I could ease your pain somehow. Calm your sorrows.
Emma wipes her face with the sleeve. You should hear her out.
In my realm, I decide to whom I should listen and whom I should hang. Be quiet. You wanted me to hear the girl out. Then let her babble on until I tire of her. So, where were we? My pain? My sorrows? What nonsense are you talking? Don't tell me you pity me.
I'm so sorry. You're the most miserable soul I've ever seen. I've seen people burned alive, people being devoured by monsters, people burying their children. They were in pain, so much pain. But I've never seen anyone in as much pain as you.
After taking a trembling breath, Ember wipes the tears streaming down her face.
What is this saccharine drivel? What do you even know of me, Nat?
I've seen your city. You were the one who built it. It is the way you wanted it to be. It holds all of your dreams, all of your heart, and everyone in this city is suffering. Everywhere, all the time, every minute. All who live here are hurting and scared. If these are its citizens, how miserable must its ruler feel?
And this is what you brought her to me for. You think this infantile sniveling is worthy of my attention?
My particular lips curl in distaste. Right. I've seen the truth of her wisdom more than once. Perhaps it would benefit you to listen to her as well.
As if I hadn't seen enough sanctimonious bores in my life. So, what do you suggest I do, preacher? Beg the good gods' forgiveness? Devote myself to serving a sword-swinging upstart, perchance? Or that old crone, the moon?
No. Gods can't help anyone. They're just like us mortals. Silly, frightened, clueless. You're almost goddess yourself. You know better than anyone that no one can save you. No one except you.
Save me? From what exactly?
From yourself. From what you've done to yourself. From the city you've imprisoned yourself in. Listen! You are a queen, but you're the queen of pain and filth. Your realm is a realm of your own suffering. You're almost goddess. You can do anything you want. So why won't you make yourself happy? You could become the Redeemer Queen.
Oh, the Redeemer Queen! That's new. Never in all my years have I heard anything like that. Well, child, enough joking. Get out of my sight, or I'm afraid I might decide to keep you here forever as my fool.
Tilting her head back, Articulate explodes with wild laughter. Her body is shaking and she doubles over, slapping her thighs with her palms. When she is finally done laughing, she catches her breath.
Do you think she took my words to heart?
Upon giving Articulate one last smile, Kimber ducks behind her back and hear her whispering. Probably.
That would be great.
I told you to get out! I don't want to hear your squeaky voice again!
Did it really create me? Huh. Alright, we're done with audio, I guess. She has certainly had a hand in the present state of existence. Lady Vorlesh designed the World's Moon, a magical phenomenon with unfathomable power. To seal it, we required a key that was just as strong and unique. Simply put, we required a champion, and she chose you. Both your powers and that wound on your chest were the result of her experiments. when she infused your soul with the essence of the abyss. Of course, you remember none of that. Everything was done in secret. Even the power granted to you was purified, to the extent that it was possible, so that you would not guess its source ahead of time. In trial after trial, we watched your will be tempered, and when the time came, we started filling you with the energies of Nehedrian crystals. These energies are necessary for the task at hand. Everything that's happened to you was part of my intrigue. I was going to summon you and reveal the truth when the time was right. Instead, you have followed your queen's orders and arrived here early. One can only hope that you are prepared to accept the truth. Everything has its price, says Aurelius quickly. Your wound was, in essence, the flip side of all my experiments. There was a reason why we required a true champion, not merely a living tool whom we could fling into the flames of the whirlwind and close it like any lesser rift. I think you should know that. Articuno makes a sudden gesture, cutting Aurelius off. Don't be too hasty. We have burdened him with enough revelations for now. Give him time to become accustomed to the truth about himself. Then you can share all the details. What exactly are you offering me? I'm offering you the chance to become my weapon. Your enemies are a thorn in my side as well as yours. What's more, I have never schemed against Golarion, nor have my warriors taken part in the conquest of your plane, at least not at my behest. There's no cause for enmity between us. Why would you want to close the wound? When the world wound opened, I was pleased. My realm was now connected to another plane. I wanted to make it into a crossroads of worlds. A place where demons, devils, and even angels could meet. The wound was a convenient place along which I could advance my ideas. But the Midnight Isles were not the only realm that I had been linked to. The Golarion, through the wound, Discara and Baphomet now also had a way from their realms into your plane. Their servants flooded my islands and spread out across them like a plague of locusts, killing guests who were under my protection, questioning my rule. They were driven by their lust to conquer and enslave, whether on Golarion or in another abyssal realm. I was forced to shift my focus and express my discontent. Eventually, atop the bones of our servants, we reached an accord. I would let their armies pass, and they would comply with my wishes while on my islands. Of course, the accord is a polite fiction. Both the Descarites and the Baphomets are attempting to amass their power and influence in Illusionera to overthrow me. When they think I'm not watching, they break my taboos and revel in their own impudence. And worst of all, Lady Vorlash told them about the Nehedrian crystals. They realized what kind of power the crystals hold, and now they are determined to mine every last deposit hidden within my islands. And once an island loses its crystals, it becomes nothing but flotsam, slowly sinking into the dark waters of Ishio. With every lost island, my power is diminished. I could start a war and kill the plunderers, but a major conflict would hinder some of my other plans. So instead, I will teach my neighbors a lesson by orchestrating their ignominious defeat at the hands of a mortal. Sorry, I hit 1 again. What do I gain by serving you? A reasonable question. One must always serve one's own interests. Well, rest assured that you will be adequately rewarded. I will give you gifts befitting your ambitions and my patronage, which you can certainly count on will prove more valuable than any enchanted trinkets you could dream up. Someone's feeling generous. While we're at it, we might as well ask for immortality. Arrow didn't like divine powers and pockets full of sweet pies, right? Nocticula lets out a condescending sigh. I can grant you immortality as well. If you think I will only reward the commander for his service, you are mistaken. I could grant every one of you whatever you desire most. You, underground hunter, would you like me to rid you of the curse of short life that haunts your tribe? So that your eyes don't grow weak in 5 years and your arms remain strong. I would love that, but I'll have to pass. I don't know what price demons demand for favors like that. I'm sure I've got nothing to pay you with. I'd rather die honestly whenever my time comes than live with a debt around my neck. If you're so powerful, why do you need me? If I were to make a move myself, it would start a war. Not that I'm afraid of doing so, but it would hamper my more important plans. Baphomet and Discari could never best me, but they could sow enough chaos and spill enough blood that visitors from other planes would shudder at the mention of a Lucianero. No, I will wage war on my own terms, in the shadows, and I will remain unseen until I drive my blade into my enemy's back. And since Galfrey happened to send you to my realm, you have the honor of becoming my blade, mortal. Be glad you're wielded by skillful hands. We should also reveal how exactly our blade will be employed. Nocticula silences Aurelia with a sharp gesture. We can discuss the details later, when the moment is right. Now is not the time for idle conversation. How exactly do you plan to close the world wound? She rolls her eyes. It is a complicated magical process. You will receive precise instructions once you've captured the threshold fortress on Galarian. There, at the exact spot where Lady Vorlesh opened the world wound, you will be able to close it. But first, you'll have to crush the Guardians of Threshold, and their forces are growing by the day. Hepzimira, Baphomet's daughter, is mining a large number of Mahindrian crystals in my realm. These crystals are her secret weapon. No army on Galarian can stand against them. You must stop Hepzimira. If you do not, your world will fall and my plans will suffer significant harm. At one time, I disclosed the secret of transformation to 2 servants of Baphomet and Discover, Xanther Vang and Mutasafi. It was a well-calculated gambit, which bought us time and assured both Discover and Baphomet of my loyalty. Mutasafin is Hepzimira's favorite. He oversees the transformation of her army. Hepzimira is currently on another island far from here. The route to that place is plagued by pirates, monsters, tempests, and other more terrifying dangers. Have you heard of the living bubbles of frozen time that swallow airships? And when the ships reach port, their crews discover they've been gone for 100 years. That is not the strangest occurrence you could encounter on your journey. I'm willing to provide you with a decent ship and an experienced crew. If you kill Hepzimira, it will stop her sinking any more of my islands. but without giving Baphomet cause to declare war on me. Nocticula cast a sidelong glance at Arushale. Then again, I'm not offering you anything new, as you are already enjoying my favor, Commander. Your companion is a succubus, and I'm the succubus queen. This demon follows you around only because I allow it. Tell me, Arushale, are you grateful that I'm not forbidding you from traveling with the Commander and fighting against your own kind? The succubus reluctantly lowers her head. You are incredibly generous, Our Lady in Shadow. Sela winks at you. So what do you think, Commander? Personally, I'd rather take my chances rowing to this another island far from here in a rusty bucket than making deals with the Lady in Shadow. I'll steer. Why is it so important to kill Hepzibah? Dascari and Baphomet won't just stand there and watch you close the world room. They'll send their armies after you, so you will need an army of your own. And that is something the Crusaders won't have for long. Hepzibah is mining more and more Nahedrian crystals to empower her forces when she attacks Golarion. If you don't stop her, the Crusader resistance will be crushed, and the ranks of demons pouring through the world room into your world will multiply 100-fold. You were sent here to cut off the demon's army's supply of Nahedrian crystals, weren't you? Well, that's exactly what you're going to accomplish. I won't help you. Then help yourself. So long as the world room exists, your soul will not heal. And there is only one path to closing it, a path which leads directly over Hepzibah's corpse. Nocticula breaks into laughter, then fixes you with a lingering look that is not one of anger or contempt. Am I asking for your help? I'm the one who's helping you. If you don't do what I need you to do, you'll die from your wound sooner or later, and nobody will be able to cure it. You still don't understand. We both want Hepzibah dead and her plans ruined. Even if you are too proud to accept my aid, even if you leave here, you will still be moving toward your goal, a goal that serves my interests as well. So you have no choice, really. You cannot swim all the way to the other end of my realm, where your enemy awaits. I'm offering to help you and demanding nothing in return. There's no reason to quarrel and sling hurtful words at one another. You wouldn't want to hurt my feelings, would you? Nocticula's smile turns predatory. No, I won't serve you. Bloodthirsty rage flashes across Nocticula's face, but she immediately regains her composure, shrugging in a show of indifference. As you wish. You will still serve my plans to Hepzibah. If you don't want to sail to Colothea on my ship, that's fine. Get your own. Swim there yourself if it pleases you. And then, once Baphomet's daughter is dead, you will try to close the world room. You will have no choice but to try, given your condition, which means I stand to win either way. Killed Will-O-Wisp, your court mage. Nocticula shows no hint of sadness. I am aware of this, of course. It is lamentable in a way, since his fear of me was strong enough to make him impeccably loyal. However, his death is but a single move in a much larger game. In games like this, losing a few pawns is unavoidable. To ask you about other powerful denizens of the Abyss. Are you interested in one of my servants, or do you wish for me to tell you of something about your enemies? What is your relationship with Aurelia? She works for me, isn't it obvious? Lady Vorlesh is very talented. She may be the most brilliant and capable mind ever to come from your plane. And the guile she used to betray one Demon Lord Master after another impressed me so much that I offered her the position of my advisor on matters of magic. Naturally, the esteemed Lord Goat and Lord Locust don't know a thing about the betrayal of their faithful lackey, Lady Vorlesh. I plan to keep it a secret for a while longer. Betrayal is too strong a word. I opened the path to Galarian for those two, and I told them how to extract power from the Hindrian crystals. That will suffice. Does it bother you that Aurelius serves another master? Nocticula smiles deviously. I'm not prone to jealousy. Let Discari think Lady Vorlesh serves him still. His bug brain seems incapable of sensing betrayal. As for Baphomet, he, like any talented liar, is most vulnerable when he's trying to deceive someone else. He was so pleased to have fooled Discari that he became blind to the treachery that was happening right under his snout. In truth, Lady Vorlesh's loyalty is mine alone. Loyalty is for fools. Shared interest, that is what rational minds rely on. That and fear. No one in their right mind would oppose the Lady in Shadow. How did Aurelia become your servant? When the World Wound was first opened, it only led to Discari's realm. But then there was another, more powerful breach. The world expanded, and its paths now passed through my realm, and Baphomet's as well. Before long, all sorts of interlopers had heard about the power contained within the crystals here. And the Midnight Owls were soon overrun with agents from my new neighbors. They flouted my embargo, burrowing greedily into my rocks, stealing my crystals. The main culprit was one Aurelia Vorlesh. She was the one who discovered the energies of the Hindrian crystals. I had captured her and was about to carry out her agonizing execution when Lady Vorlesh offered me something I desired even more than her death. She entered my service, and her main task since then has been to close the World Wound. Once it is sealed, my realm will once again be cut off from those of Baphomet and Discari, and their slaves will no longer be able to infiltrate my islands with such ease. Sorry. Here it is. Do you remember the elven archmage who used to serve you thousands of years ago? He's still alive. We know each other. Really? He was well past his youth even back then, and now, just how old is he? Can mortals even live that long? Well, apart from your immortal Aslanti. Say hello to him on behalf of the Lady in Shadow, and tell him that the one who replaced him has disappointed me immensely with his incompetence. No matter how hard he tried, he could never live up to my magnificent oath. You know, you've managed to surprise me, a rare occurrence for someone who knows just about everything. With a bat of her eyelashes, Nocticula sends you a piercing gaze, one that feels like she's delving into the deepest corners of your mind. Of your soul. Alright, whatever. Are Baphomet and Discari your allies? The Goat and the Locust? Allies is too strong a word for our relationship. Our connection was forged by circumstance, not out of a desire to deal with each other. When the World Wound opened, it tied your world to our realms. I did not join my armies with theirs, but I was forced into making peace with them so as not to get bogged down in a tiring and distracting war. If I had the opportunity, I would have met them on my terms and expanded my territories at their expense. Nocticula indulges herself with a thin smile. Unfortunately, this is not currently possible. By the way, one of them came to me with the offer of an atrocious alliance that involved conceiving little ones together. I'm still contemplating the specifics of my refusal. It needs to be clear and unambiguous. Her ensuing laughter is deep and musical, almost enchanting. Everything is clear to me now. Nocticula just gives you a mysterious smile. I want to know more about you. Recounting my whole story would take longer than your brief mortal life allows. The list of demon lords I've slain is endless on its own, as is the number of islands under my rule. And that's just the past. There's also my future. How did you become a demon lord? Bear in mind that I have always been unique, ever since I was born. I was the first succubus of the Abyss, the perfect specimen of my race. I had been enjoying my youth, sharing it with my brother and lover, until the hungry gaze of the demon lord Nahindri fell upon me. That greedy tyrant saw me as a jewel to be added to his treasure hoard. He tried to abduct me. I knew I had no chance of defeating a demon lord, but in that moment I was not thinking at all. I was fighting for my freedom. When it was all over, Nahindri was dead. I eviscerated him, and for many days afterward, blood spewed from his open carcass. First his body turned to stone, and then his blood, which had been flowing like a stream, began to crystallize into massive purple glaciers. Now do you see why they're called Nahindrian crystals? Perhaps they should be called Nocticulan crystals, because as Nahindri's blood crystallized, so too did my understanding of my power. Soon after, I began my campaign of conquest. I was cunning, swift, and the demon lords themselves trembled before me, knowing I could take their very lives. Only when all of the Abyss spoke my name with terror and reverence did I decide that I had killed enough. I had a realm, I had power I no longer shared with my brother. I had servants, and most importantly, I had safety. No one has ever repeated old Nahindri's mistakes. No one has tried to make me their slave. Are the Midnight Isles really the corpses of slain demon lords? Yes, my realm is quite literally built on the bones of my slain enemies. Ironic, isn't it? How did you turn the dead demon lords into islands? Nocticula responds with a mocking smile. Surely you don't expect me to reveal the secret to you. There is no need for mortals to learn the weaknesses of demon lords. All I can say is that everything started with my desire for revenge. After I had dealt with Nahindri, I was furious at the thought of that vile, lecherous wretch just teleporting over to the Rift of Repose, where he could turn to stone and stay there to rot for the remainder of eternity. I wanted to trample his foul corpse, to keep his bloodied body within my sight forever. I yearned to display my glorious trophy to all of the Abyss, and that's when my power first manifested. I studied my newfound abilities and learned how to use them. Before long, I possessed not just one island, but an entire archipelago. Right, what do you plan to do next? Subdue all of the Abyss? Possibly. Or perhaps I have something grander in mind. The Abyss? Who cares about the abyss? Nocticula's full-throated laughter rings out like a challenge to the entire world. I have no more questions. It's always nice to indulge one's curiosity. I've changed my mind. I do need to shut that. I still have some business to take care of in the Illusionary. Nocticula nods to herself. Really, you are no longer needed here. As you roam, my lady. Rilu vanishes, but you notice the look in her eyes, pensive and appraising. Nocticula casts a piercing glance at the spot where Rilu was but a moment ago. Then stops you with a commanding gesture. There is one more thing we must discuss. The Lexicon of Paradox, Lady Vorlesh's magical treatise that contains many secrets of the world loom. You and my servant, Lady Vorlesh, were just talking about the Lexicon of Paradox. For many years, it has remained split in half, harmless. But what was once divided can be made whole again. Who knows what power the book could impart to its owner? What if they expand the world even further, or connect it to other planes? Not a chance. The Lexicon of Paradox has caused more than enough trouble already. You already possess the first half of the book. Find the other one and bring them both to me. I will reward you handsomely. Giving the book into my keeping will also protect Galarian from suffering a second World Wound disaster. Lexicon of Paradox will be much safer under my watch than your travel bags, wouldn't you agree? Why do you need this book? The one World Wound alone has been enough of a nuisance for me. I want to ensure that some future mage leafing through this book doesn't link my realm to another plane. I'll consider your offer. The reward will not disappoint you, I promise. This dangerous knowledge ought to be locked up securely. I won't keep you any longer. I still have some business to take care of, my Illusionary. You have taken a liking to my city, I see. Well then, savor it to the fullest, and then come back for truly important business. Nocticula's lips part in a smile that is both predatory and alluring. I completely forgot about dealing with that. I should go wreck the slave market. That's it. Oh. Alright, I'm gonna get ready to call it now because of other developments. I'm gonna go down to the flesh markets, clear the place out just because I forgot to do it earlier. Until then, alright. So, for the usual sign off, thank you all for joining me on this run of Pathfinder Wrath of the Righteous. Hope to see you all again tomorrow. Well, actually, no, I might be able to come on later tonight with Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, so I'll see you then. Sex. That is quite a question that will be left to the imagination of the viewers. The trust is. So, gotta go. I'll be back on with Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel in a little bit. Hope to see you all then, and until